Welcome to World Information HD, where we dive deep into the most fascinating and valuable treasures hidden in coin collections around the world. In today's video, we'll unveil the top 15 rare Lincoln and Kennedy half-dollar coins from the USA that have sold for millions, or are rumored to be worth that much. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just curious if your spare change could be a goldmine, stay tuned as we explore the stories, minting errors, and jaw-dropping auction records behind these legendary coins. Today, we're diving into one of the most mysterious and fascinating coins from American history, the 1971 no-mint Mark Kennedy half-dollar. It may look like just another coin you might find in your change jar or an old drawer, but what if I told you that this ordinary-looking half-dollar could actually be worth a small fortune? In fact, some examples have stunned collectors and experts alike with their extraordinary value, shocking even the most seasoned numismatists. So stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why this coin has captured the imagination of collectors across the world, and why it's one you should definitely check for in your pocket change. Let's start with the background. The Kennedy half-dollar was first introduced in 1964, a year after the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy. It was intended as both a tribute and a symbol of unity for a grieving nation. Americans rushed to collect the coin as a keepsake, and the first year's issue, struck in 90% silver, disappeared from circulation almost instantly. But by 1971, things had changed. The U.S. Mint officially stopped using silver in half-dollars, switching instead to a copper-nickel-clad composition. This change marked a new era, one that would transform not just the look and feel of the coin, but also its rarity and desirability. The 1971 Kennedy half-dollar was struck in both Philadelphia and Denver, but the ones without any mint mark, the so-called no mint mark versions, were struck in Philadelphia. At first glance, they might seem ordinary, with a weight of 11.34 grams, a diameter of 30.6 millimeters, and a copper core sandwiched between nickel layers. But hidden among these millions of coins are certain examples that defy expectations: error coins, rare varieties, and specimens that slip past the mint's quality control. These are the coins that now command astonishing values at auction. Let's look at what makes the 1971 no-mint Mark half-dollar so special. First, collectors often seek out varieties such as double dies, where the details on the obverse or reverse appear doubled due to a misalignment in the minting process. A famous example of this is the 1971 Kennedy half-dollar with a double die obverse, but the Philadelphia no mint mark version also has its share of intriguing errors. Doubling can often be seen in the inscriptions, "Liberty in God We Trust," or in Kennedy's eye and hairline. If you happen to have a coin like that, you're looking at something truly extraordinary. Another fascinating detail is the transition year itself. Remember, 1971 was the first year the mint stopped producing 40% silver half-dollars. But here's where things get interesting. A few rare 1971 half-dollars were accidentally struck on leftover 40% silver planchets from 1970. These silver transitional errors are incredibly scarce and have become the holy grail for collectors. How can you tell if you have one? A normal copper-nickel-clad coin will have a distinct reddish or brownish stripe around its edge when viewed from the side. A silver planchet coin, however, will have a uniform silver-gray color with no visible copper edge. If your 1971 no-mint Mark half-dollar looks like that, don't spend it. You might be holding a treasure worth thousands of dollars. The story doesn't end there. Some 1971 half-dollars also display unusual striking characteristics, such as weak details, broad strikes, off-center strikes, or missing design elements. These are known as mint errors, and collectors go absolutely wild for them. For example, a 1971 Kennedy half-dollar struck off-center by even 10% can sell for hundreds of dollars, depending on how much of the design is missing. A coin with a double strike or a die cap error can easily reach into the thousands. Beyond the errors, condition plays a huge role in determining value. Like all coins, the 1971 no-mint Mark Kennedy half-dollar is graded on a scale from 1 to 70. Coins that have never been circulated and retain their full mint luster are called mint state, or MS. The higher the number, the better the condition, and the more valuable the coin becomes. For example, a coin graded MS65 or higher can be worth a significant premium over face value. But coins graded MS67 or above are extremely rare for this issue, and those are the ones that attract record-breaking bids at auctions. Now, here's something most people don't know: even the slightest difference in surface quality can mean thousands of dollars in value difference. Some 1971 Kennedy half dollars have what's known as deep cameo, or proof-like, finishes. These are coins that were struck with specially prepared dies, producing mirror-like fields and frosted details. While most proof coins were struck in San Francisco with an S mint mark, a few Philadelphia business strike coins accidentally took on this proof-like appearance, creating another layer of rarity. The coin's design itself carries powerful symbolism that makes it beloved among collectors. On the obverse, we see the left-facing profile of President John F. Kennedy, sculpted by Gilroy Roberts, capturing his youthful strength and vision. On the reverse, designed by Frank Gasparo, we see the presidential seal, a proud eagle clutching olive branches and arrows, surrounded by a ring of stars. Every detail of this design holds meaning: peace and war, strength and leadership, hope and sacrifice. It's a coin that tells a story, not just of a president, but of a nation seeking hope after tragedy. So, how do you know if your 1971 Kennedy half dollar might be valuable? Start by checking the mint mark, or rather, the lack of one. If your coin has no mint mark beneath Kennedy's neck, it was struck in Philadelphia. Then look carefully at the edges. If you see a solid silver color and no copper, you might have a rare silver transitional error. Use a scale as well. Normal clad coins weigh around 11.34 grams, but silver planchets weigh slightly more, about 11.5 grams. Even a small weight difference can make all the difference. If your coin passes that test, it's time to examine the details under a magnifying glass. Check for doubling on the inscriptions, especially around "In God We Trust" or on Kennedy's eyes and hairline. If you see doubling, you've struck gold, figuratively speaking. Also, inspect for off-center strikes, die cracks, or unusually weak details. Each of these could significantly boost the coin's value. Now, if you're wondering where to sell such coins, there are several excellent options. Reputable coin dealers, professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, and major auction houses such as Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers are all great places to start. These organizations can authenticate and grade your coin, which dramatically increases its credibility and value in the market. Collectors are willing to pay far more for coins that have been officially graded and encapsulated. For collectors, the 1971 no mint mark Kennedy half dollar represents more than just money. It's a symbol of a pivotal era in American history, a shift from silver to clad, from the old ways to the modern minting era. It's a piece of the 1970s, an age of transition, technology, and turbulence. And every now and then, a simple coin like this reminds us that even ordinary things can hold extraordinary secrets. Over the years, thousands of these coins have passed unnoticed through people's hands. They've been spent at stores, tossed in jars, and given as change without anyone realizing their hidden value. But collectors know that the thrill of coin hunting lies in discovery, the possibility that one day, you'll find that one elusive piece that turns out to be something truly special. There's something magical about that moment, when you realize you might be holding a coin worth far more than 50 cents. You can feel its history, its craftsmanship, and the legacy of the man it honors. That's what makes numismatics, the study and collecting of coins, so fascinating. It's part treasure hunt, part time travel, and part storytelling. So next time you come across a 1971 Kennedy half dollar, don't just toss it aside. Take a closer look. Examine every detail. You never know when an ordinary coin could turn into an extraordinary discovery. The world of coin collecting is filled with surprises, and stories like this one remind us why. From minting errors to transitional planchets, from deep cameo proofs to high-grade rarities, each coin tells a different chapter of history. In the world of American coins, few pieces have captured the fascination of collectors and treasure hunters quite like the Kennedy half-dollar. Introduced in 1964 to honor the memory of President John F. Kennedy following his tragic assassination, this coin became an instant symbol of national pride, remembrance, and hope. But beyond its emotional significance, certain years and mint marks have taken on a life of their own, with some examples fetching jaw-dropping prices on the collector's market. One such fascinating coin is the 1972 D mint mark Kennedy half-dollar, a coin that has quietly become one of the most sought-after pieces among numismatists and coin enthusiasts alike. Let's dive deep into the mystery, the history, and the incredible value that hides behind this small yet powerful piece of American history. The year 1972 was a turbulent yet progressive time for the United States. The nation was still emerging from the social changes of the 1960s, and in the midst of the Cold War, the U.S. Mint continued producing coins that carried both practical use and patriotic pride. The Kennedy half-dollar, first struck in 1964, was already considered a modern classic. By 1972, the Denver Mint, identified by the D mint mark located just below Kennedy's neck on the coin, had struck tens of millions of these half-dollars for circulation. However, as with most coins, not every Kennedy half-dollar was created equal. Some 1972 D coins stand out because of their unique minting characteristics, die variations, and pristine preservation. These small differences have made certain examples astonishingly rare and extremely valuable. The Kennedy half-dollar design itself was a masterpiece of American coinage. The obverse, or front, features a stunning left-facing profile of President John F. Kennedy, designed by Gilroy Roberts, while the reverse, created by Frank Gasparo, proudly displays the presidential seal, an eagle clutching arrows and an olive branch beneath a ring of stars. This iconic imagery not only makes the coin beautiful but also deeply symbolic of American unity and strength. Now, let's talk about the 1972 D mint mark variety, and what makes it so intriguing. While millions were produced, only a fraction remain in gem condition today. Over time, circulation wore down most of these coins, stripping away their mint luster and leaving behind dull, scratched surfaces. Yet among the countless worn examples, a few have emerged in spectacular condition, coins that somehow avoided the damage of circulation and retained their original brilliance. But what truly separates the ordinary from the extraordinary are the subtle differences in the dies used at the Denver Mint that year. Some coins show slight variations in the Kennedy portrait, while others display unique doubling effects or unusual minting flaws. These varieties, combined with pristine condition and strong strike details, can elevate the value of a coin from pocket change to a collector's dream. The 1972 D Kennedy half-dollar has been studied by professionals and collectors for decades, and its value has steadily climbed. Many collectors specifically search for examples graded by the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, or the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, both highly respected coin grading authorities. A coin graded MS-67 or higher from these institutions can command incredible prices due to its rarity and quality. To put things into perspective, finding a 1972 D Kennedy half-dollar in circulation today is like discovering a time capsule from 50 years ago. Most of these coins were heavily used during the 1970s and 1980s, meaning that mint state survivors are exceedingly scarce. The coins that remain untouched, with sharp details, full luster, and minimal contact marks, are now cherished by collectors who understand just how rare they truly are. Even more fascinating are the era coins from the Denver Mint that year. Some 1972 D half-dollars were struck with slightly misaligned dies, resulting in off-center designs or double impressions. Others were minted on planchets meant for different denominations or with missing design details, errors that collectors absolutely love. These unique production quirks give each coin its own personality, turning what was once a regular piece of currency into a collectible treasure. Now, let's explore how this coin fits into the broader story of American coinage. After 1971, all Kennedy half-dollars were produced in a copper-nickel clad composition rather than the 40% silver alloy used in earlier years. This shift made them less valuable in terms of metal content but more collectible for their design and historical significance. The 1972 D, therefore, represents an important era, when the Kennedy half-dollar transitioned from being a semi-silver coin to a fully modern piece of everyday currency. Despite the change in composition, collectors have continued to cherish the series, driven by nostalgia and admiration for President Kennedy. Over time, demand for high-quality examples has increased dramatically, especially for coins with rare die varieties, brilliant surfaces, or unique historical characteristics. Interestingly, many people today still find Kennedy half-dollars in pocket change or inherited coin collections without realizing their potential worth. The 1972 D coin is one that often hides in plain sight, a treasure that looks ordinary to the untrained eye but can be worth a small fortune to the right collector. If you ever come across a 1972 D Kennedy half-dollar, the first thing to do is inspect it carefully. Look for sharp details in Kennedy's hair, clear lettering in Liberty, and a strong strike on the eagle's feathers on the reverse. If the coin shines with mirror-like brilliance and shows no signs of wear, it could be worth having it professionally graded. The grading process can make a huge difference in determining a coin's market value. Coins graded MS60 to MS63 are considered uncirculated but may have noticeable marks or dullness. Coins in MS65 or higher grades, however, exhibit full mint luster and virtually flawless surfaces, the kind of condition collectors dream of. For the 1972 D Kennedy half-dollar, top-graded examples have sold for thousands of dollars at auctions. Serious numismatists compete fiercely to own the finest specimens, often paying record-breaking sums for coins that exhibit perfect strikes, brilliant surfaces, and eye-catching appeal. Beyond the monetary aspect, the Kennedy half-dollar series holds a sentimental place in American history. The coin serves as a lasting tribute to one of the most beloved presidents in U.S. history. Every time you hold one, you're not just holding a coin, you're holding a piece of the nation's collective memory. The Denver Mint, known for its precision and volume, struck more than 141 million Kennedy half-dollars in 1972. And yet, out of those millions, only a handful have survived in gem condition. That's what makes these coins so extraordinary. It's not the quantity produced, but the quality that remains. Collectors who specialize in the Kennedy series know that coins like the 1972 D are essential to completing a top-tier set. The challenge of finding one in near-perfect condition adds excitement and prestige to the hunt. Each discovery feels like unearthing a hidden relic from the past. It's also worth noting how the market for rare Kennedy half-dollars has evolved. Decades ago, these coins were overlooked by many collectors who preferred older, silver-based designs. But as the years passed and the supply of pristine examples dwindled, demand began to rise sharply. Today, the Kennedy series, and especially the rare early mint marks like the 1972 D, are celebrated as modern classics. So, what does this mean for collectors, hobbyists, and treasure hunters? It means that the next time you come across a Kennedy half-dollar, take a closer look, particularly if it's from 1972 with a D mint mark. Examine its shine, its condition, and its fine details. You might just be holding one of the most valuable coins of the modern era. Many stories have emerged of people finding rare Kennedy half-dollars in old rolls of coins, inherited collections, or even tucked away in jars and drawers. Some of these discoveries have turned out to be worth astonishing amounts of money. The joy of coin collecting lies in that very possibility, that any ordinary-looking coin might conceal a remarkable history and incredible value. As collectors know, the true worth of a coin extends beyond its metal. It lies in its story, in the artistry, the rarity, and the connection to a moment in history. The 1972 D Kennedy half-dollar embodies all of that. It's a shining reminder of a president's legacy, a reflection of America's coinage evolution, and a timeless piece of craftsmanship that continues to inspire fascination. So, whether you're an experienced numismatist or a casual enthusiast just starting your journey, remember this: every coin has a story, and sometimes, that story is worth far more than you could ever imagine. In the rich history of American coinage, few pieces capture the imagination and fascination of collectors quite like the Kennedy half-dollar. Among the many years it was struck, one particular issue stands out: the 1973 D Mint Mark Kennedy half-dollar. This coin, minted at the Denver Mint, carries not only the memory of an era but also the enduring image of President John F. Kennedy, a man whose legacy is immortalized in both history and metal. But what makes the 1973 D Kennedy half-dollar such an interesting and sometimes surprisingly valuable coin? Let's take a deep look into its background, its design, its minting process, and the reasons why some examples are worth far more than their face value today. To begin, the Kennedy half-dollar series was first introduced in 1964, just months after the tragic assassination of President Kennedy in November 1963. The coin was created to honor him, and it replaced the Franklin half-dollar that had only been in circulation for 15 years. The emotional connection that Americans had with Kennedy made this coin instantly popular. In fact, when the coin was first released, people hoarded them as keepsakes and mementos, causing them to vanish from circulation almost immediately. By the time we reached 1973, the Kennedy half-dollar had already undergone a few changes. The early 1964 versions were made of 90% silver, but after that, the composition changed to a 40% silver mix until 1970. Starting from 1971, the U.S. Mint shifted to a copper-nickel-clad composition, a layer of copper sandwiched between two layers of nickel, making the coins more durable and suitable for mass circulation. The 1973 D Kennedy half-dollar, therefore, belongs to this copper-nickel era. But despite being a clad coin, it holds fascinating historical and collector value. One of the most interesting facts about the 1973 Kennedy half-dollar is that it was not released for general circulation. The U.S. Mint only produced them for collector sets, specifically for the 1973 mint sets and proof sets. That means most people in 1973 never received one in their pocket change, and unless they purchased mint sets, they would have never even seen one. This restriction makes the 1973 D Kennedy half-dollar relatively rare in circulation today. Now, let's talk about the design of this coin, which remains one of the most iconic in modern numismatics. The obverse side of the coin features a stunning portrait of President John F. Kennedy, designed by Gilroy Roberts, who was the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint at the time. Kennedy's strong yet calm expression was based on a portrait prepared for his presidential medal, giving the coin a lifelike and dignified presence. Above his head, the word "Liberty" arcs along the rim, while the phrase, "In God We Trust," appears across the lower portion of the design, split around Kennedy's neck. The date, 1973, is struck beneath his neckline, and just to the left of it, the letter D appears, the mint mark of the Denver Mint. Flipping the coin over, the reverse displays the famous presidential seal, designed by Frank Gasparo. It features an eagle holding an olive branch in its right claw, symbolizing peace, and a bundle of arrows in its left, representing strength and readiness to defend the nation. Above the eagle's head, a circle of stars surrounds the motto, E pluribus unum, meaning, out of many one. The words, United States of America, curve around the top edge, and half-dollar rests proudly below the eagle. This combination of imagery and symbolism gives the Kennedy half-dollar its timeless patriotic appeal. The 1973 D Kennedy half-dollar was struck in the millions, around 83 million pieces in total, which might make it sound common. However, because these coins were produced only for mint sets and not released into general circulation, they remained in pristine condition within their original government packaging. Many were eventually opened, handled, and lost to time, but those that survived in high-grade condition have become particularly desirable. Collectors are always looking for coins with the sharpest details, the brightest luster, and the fewest imperfections. The 1973 D Kennedy half-dollar is no exception. In mint state, MS condition, these coins can range significantly in value, depending on their grade. Lower mint state grades like MS60 to MS63 can sell for a few dollars, but when you reach the highest possible grades, especially MS67 or MS68, the value skyrockets. These top-tier examples are incredibly rare because they display flawless surfaces and brilliant strikes, as if they were minted yesterday. In the world of coin collecting, condition and rarity go hand in hand. A coin that's technically common can suddenly become highly valuable if it survives in extraordinary condition. This is exactly what has happened with the 1973 D. Kennedy half-dollar. A coin that was once considered ordinary has become a treasure for collectors when found in superb uncirculated condition. Adding another layer of intrigue are the possible minting errors. Some 1973 D. Kennedy half-dollars display striking errors such as off-center strikes, double dies, or planchet defects. These mint errors are accidental, but they make each affected coin unique and highly collectible. A double die error, for example, can make the letters or numbers on the coin appear doubled, an effect that fascinates collectors and drives up the coin's market price. The Kennedy half-dollar series, in general, has always held sentimental and historical importance for Americans. It symbolizes not just a piece of metal, but a piece of the nation's memory. The year 1973, a decade after Kennedy's death, marked a time when the coin had already become more than currency. It had become a tribute. The 1973 D issue, with its limited release and immaculate condition in collector sets, represents that ongoing respect and admiration. Collectors often describe the 1973 D Kennedy half-dollar as a hidden gem, because many casual collectors overlook it. It doesn't have silver content, and it doesn't circulate widely, but its backstory and scarcity in pristine grades make it a standout. Many experienced numismatists actively seek it out to complete their Kennedy half-dollar collections. The coin serves as a bridge between the older, silver-era half-dollars and the modern-clad ones, embodying both tradition and transition in American coinage. When examining one of these coins in person, you'll notice its subtle beauty. The fields of the coin, the flat areas, reflect light elegantly, while Kennedy's portrait seems to glow with life. On a well-preserved coin, even the tiniest details, the strands of hair, the sharpness of the lettering, and the eagle's feathers, remain crisp and defined. It's this level of craftsmanship that makes holding such a coin feel like holding a small piece of history in your hand. If you happen to find a 1973 D. Kennedy half-dollar in your collection or in an old mint set, it's worth taking a close look. Check for any signs of damage or wear, but also pay attention to its luster and strike quality. You might be holding something far more valuable than you think. And if you discover one in near-perfect condition, it might just be one of those rare examples that can command a high premium among collectors. Over the years, auction houses and coin grading services have recorded some stunning sales for this particular issue. Collectors with a keen eye for perfection often compete fiercely to own the finest known examples. A high-grade 1973 D. Kennedy half-dollar, especially one graded MS-68 by a professional grading service, can attract strong bidding activity and fetch an impressive price at auction. The beauty of collecting coins like the 1973 D. Kennedy half-dollar lies not just in their monetary value but in the history they carry. Each coin is a tangible reminder of America's past, of leadership, tragedy, and unity. The design of the coin continues to serve as a national symbol, reflecting values that are timeless. In the end, the 1973 D. Kennedy half-dollar stands as more than just a collectible. It's a snapshot of American craftsmanship, national pride, and the enduring fascination with President John F. Kennedy. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just a curious collector starting your journey, discovering one of these coins can be an exciting and rewarding experience. It serves as a reminder that even coins made from common metals can hold uncommon stories and surprising value. And speaking of value, some of the highest graded 1973 D. Kennedy half-dollars have been sold at auctions for an astonishing amount. One pristine example in superb mint state condition was valued at an impressive $47,635. The year 1977 was an interesting time in American coinage history. The United States Mint was producing millions of coins for circulation, but among them were a few special treasures that collectors now hunt for, pieces with rare variations, minting errors, or unique qualities that make them worth far more than their face value. One such coin is the 1977 D. Mint Mark Kennedy half-dollar. At first glance, it looks like an ordinary 50-cent piece, but beneath its copper-nickel surface lies a fascinating story of design, production, and surprising collector value that continues to rise year after year. The Kennedy half-dollar series began in 1964, following the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy in November 1963. Americans were still in mourning, and the U.S. Mint quickly decided to honor the fallen president with a new coin bearing his likeness. The design was fast-tracked into production, and within months, the Kennedy half-dollar was born. The first coins were minted in 90% silver, but due to rising silver costs, later issues were made with less precious metal until eventually transitioning to a copper-nickel composition in 1971. By 1977, the Kennedy half-dollar had become a staple of American coinage. Although it wasn't used much in everyday transactions anymore, it remained a popular collector's item. The Denver Mint produced millions of these coins that year, marked with a small D beneath Kennedy's neck. However, among the millions of coins that rolled off the presses, a few rare examples stood out, and those are the coins that collectors dream about today. To understand the value of the 1977 D Kennedy half-dollar, we must first appreciate its design. The obverse features the left-facing portrait of President Kennedy, created by U.S. Mint chief engraver Gilroy Roberts. It's a striking, dignified profile meant to capture the president's youth and energy. The reverse, designed by Frank Gasparo, depicts the presidential seal, a proud eagle clutching arrows and an olive branch, surrounded by 50 stars. Every detail of this coin represents American pride, unity, and strength. The 1977 D Kennedy half-dollar was struck in a copper-nickel-clad composition, consisting of an inner core of pure copper sandwiched between two layers of nickel. The coin weighs 11.34 grams, measures 30.6 millimeters in diameter, and has a reeded edge. It was minted in large quantities. Over 31 million pieces were struck at the Denver Mint alone. But here's the twist: despite the high mintage, not every coin is equal in quality or desirability. In numismatics, or the study of coins, condition is everything. Most Kennedy half-dollars from the 1970s were heavily circulated, showing wear and tear from years of handling. Finding one in pristine condition, especially with full details, bright luster, and no scratches, is incredibly rare. Collectors prize coins graded MS, or mint state by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC. The higher the grade, the higher the value. A typical 1977 D Kennedy half-dollar in circulated condition might only be worth its face value, 50 cents. But a coin in uncirculated or gem condition can be worth several dollars. And if the coin exhibits a sharp strike, brilliant surfaces, and no contact marks, the price can climb into the hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Now, let's talk about what makes some of these coins even more valuable: the errors and varieties. Error coins occur when something goes wrong during the minting process, and collectors love them because they're one of a kind. Some 1977 D Kennedy half-dollars have been found with off-center strikes, where the design is slightly misaligned. Others have doubling on the letters or date, known as a double die. These errors can make the coin significantly more valuable, depending on the severity and visibility of the mistake. There are also examples of the 1977 D Kennedy half-dollar that were struck on the wrong planchet, meaning a blank intended for another coin accidentally ended up in the press. These are extremely rare and highly sought after. Imagine a Kennedy half-dollar struck on a quarter or dollar-sized planchet. That's the kind of minting mishap collectors dream about. Even normal 1977 D Kennedy half-dollars with superb luster and sharp detail can fetch impressive prices at auction. Professional collectors often pay premium prices for coins that have been preserved perfectly since the day they were minted. These coins are often found in original mint sets or rolls that were never opened. Over time, the copper-nickel surface can develop beautiful tones of gold, blue, or purple, known as toning, which adds to the coin's uniqueness and desirability. When evaluating a 1977 D Kennedy half-dollar, there are a few things collectors look for: strong strike quality, clean fields, the flat areas around the design, and the presence of the mint mark, D, below Kennedy's neck. Coins with strong details in Kennedy's hair and the eagle's feathers on the reverse tend to be the most valuable. Another fascinating aspect of this coin's history is how it reflects America's economic and cultural transition in the 1970s. By this time, half dollars were rarely seen in circulation. They were too large for most vending machines and simply not convenient for everyday use. Many Americans kept them as keepsakes instead of spending them, which is why so many remain in relatively good condition today. The Kennedy half-dollar became more of a commemorative coin than a circulating one, a symbolic tribute rather than a practical currency. In recent years, the interest in Kennedy half-dollars has grown again among younger collectors and investors. People are rediscovering the beauty of these coins, their connection to American history, and their potential as valuable collectibles. Coin grading services and online marketplaces have made it easier than ever to find, buy, and sell these coins, sometimes for surprising amounts. At major coin auctions, exceptional examples of the 1977 Kennedy half-dollar have fetched remarkable prices. These are usually coins that have been professionally graded at the highest levels, such as MS-67 or MS-68. At these grades, every detail is crisp, the luster is mirror-like, and the surfaces are virtually flawless. Collectors are willing to pay big money for such perfection because coins of that caliber are exceedingly rare, even among millions minted. There have also been reports of 1977 Kennedy half-dollars selling for thousands due to unique mint errors or perfect condition. These coins represent the pinnacle of numismatic collecting, where history, art, and rarity converge into one small but powerful symbol of American heritage. Another reason collectors love this coin is its connection to President John F. Kennedy, one of the most iconic figures in American history. The Kennedy half-dollar remains one of the most popular coin series ever produced by the U.S. Mint, and many people collect them out of admiration for the president himself. Every time you hold one, you're holding a piece of that legacy, a reminder of a moment in time when America came together to honor its fallen leader. The Denver Mint, where this particular coin was made, has a long history of producing high-quality coins. Located in Colorado, it has been minting U.S. coins since 1906. The D Mint mark represents this facility, and coins from Denver are known for their strong strikes and sharp details. But even among these, the 1977 Kennedy half-dollar stands out as a collectible that continues to intrigue both casual coin enthusiasts and serious numismatists alike. So, if you ever come across a 1977 Kennedy half-dollar in your change, don't overlook it. Check it carefully. Look for a sharp, clean strike, and see if it shows any signs of doubling, off-centering, or other anomalies. If it looks especially bright or flawless, consider having it graded. You might be holding something far more valuable than 50 cents. Even though millions were minted, only a handful survive today in the highest states of preservation. That scarcity, combined with growing collector demand, has driven prices to impressive heights. And while most 1977 Kennedy half-dollars might only be worth a few dollars, the finest examples have shocked even experienced collectors with their final auction results. As the years pass and more collectors recognize the significance of this coin, its value continues to climb. It's a testament to how even a common-looking piece of change can hold extraordinary worth when history, craftsmanship, and rarity come together. And yes, among all the discoveries and recorded sales, one particularly pristine 1977 Mint mark Kennedy half-dollar in exceptional condition once sold for an astonishing $43,764. Welcome to World Information HD, where every coin tells a story, and every cent could be worth a fortune. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating pieces of American coinage, the 1978 No-Mint mark Kennedy half-dollar. This coin, with its rich history, unique design, and surprising value, continues to amaze collectors and treasure hunters across the nation. If you've ever held one in your hand or found one tucked away in old change, you might be holding something far more valuable than you ever imagined. So stay tuned till the end, because what looks like an ordinary 50-cent piece could be hiding a secret that's worth thousands. The Kennedy half-dollar series began in 1964, just months after the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy. The U.S. Mint rushed into production to honor the beloved president, creating what would become one of the most iconic coins in American history. Originally struck in 90% silver, the Kennedy half-dollar became an instant collector's item. But by 1971, due to rising silver prices, the composition changed to a copper-nickel clad, the same type used in 1978. Yet, even without silver, certain years like 1978 still hold unexpected surprises that make them stand out among collectors. Now, let's talk about the year 1978, a transitional era for U.S. coinage. The mint had improved its striking techniques, and the economy was shifting, making coins from this period particularly interesting. The 1978 Kennedy half-dollar with no mint mark was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Coins struck in Philadelphia traditionally have no mint mark, so if your 1978 Kennedy half-dollar doesn't show a small D or S, that's normal. It means it was minted in Philadelphia. But what makes some of these coins valuable isn't just where they were made, it's the subtle differences that most people never notice. Let's start with the design. On the obverse, or front, we see the striking left-facing portrait of President John F. Kennedy, designed by Gilroy Roberts. His sharp features, confident expression, and detailed hair texture give the coin a lifelike quality. Around the rim, the word, Liberty, arches proudly, while the phrase, "In God We Trust," appears just below Kennedy's chin. The date, 1978, rests at the bottom, representing a year that would quietly give birth to one of the most undervalued gems in U.S. coinage history. Flip it over to the reverse, and you'll see Frank Gasparo's intricate design, the presidential seal. It features a heraldic eagle holding an olive branch in one claw and arrows in the other, symbolizing peace and strength. 13 stars surround the eagle's head, representing the original colonies, and the legend, United States of America, wraps around the top. At the bottom, half-dollar, reminds you of its face value, though its true worth today is anything but 50 cents. In 1978, millions of these half-dollars were struck, but not all were created equal. Most ended up in circulation, jostled around in pockets, cash registers, and coin rolls. Over time, they became common. But among those millions, there exist rare variants and high-grade examples that make collectors' hearts race. Let's explore what makes the 1978 no-mint mark Kennedy half-dollar so special, and potentially so valuable. First, condition plays a huge role. In the world of numismatics, the term, mint state, refers to coins that have never been used in commerce. They retain their original luster, that shiny, mirror-like surface you see under good lighting. The grading scale, developed by the Sheldon system, ranges from poor P1 to perfect mint state, MS-70. The higher the grade, the higher the value. Most 1978 Kennedy half-dollars in circulation are worn, dull, or scratched. But a coin that remains in pristine condition, especially with a sharp strike and full details in Kennedy's hair and the eagle's feathers, can fetch impressive prices. Another fascinating aspect is the strike quality. Because these coins were mass-produced, not every die used by the mint was perfectly aligned or polished. Some coins show weak strikes, doubling, or die cracks. One of the most sought-after varieties is the double die obverse, where parts of the lettering or Kennedy's features appear slightly duplicated due to a minor misalignment during minting. Even a subtle doubling can increase a coin's value dramatically. Collectors with keen eyes often spot these anomalies under magnification, transforming what looks like a simple coin into a prized rarity. Then there are planchet errors, mistakes made before the coin was even struck. Occasionally, a blank planchet, the metal disc, may have impurities or incorrect metal composition. Sometimes, a coin is struck on a planchet intended for another denomination, creating hybrid errors that collectors absolutely love. Imagine finding a 1978 Kennedy half-dollar struck on a quarter-size planchet, a true rarity that could easily sell for thousands. The no-mint mark feature adds another layer of intrigue. While most Philadelphia coins are common, some years and varieties from this mint have proven to be incredibly valuable due to die variations or low survival rates. The 1978 no-mint mark Kennedy half-dollar is one such coin that, when preserved in flawless condition or struck with exceptional detail, can command a premium far beyond its face value. Now, let's talk numbers. because this is where things get exciting. In circulated condition, most 1978 Kennedy half dollars are worth around 50 cents to a dollar. Not very thrilling at first glance. But once you move into uncirculated grades, the value starts climbing. Coins graded MS65 or higher by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC can bring in anywhere from $20 to $60. Still not bad, but the real treasure lies in the upper echelons of perfection. Collectors seek the creme de la creme, those few coins that achieved grades of MS67, MS68, or even higher. These are the coins that have survived more than 4 decades without a single fingerprint, scratch, or dull spot. Their surfaces gleam under light, their edges are crisp, and every tiny detail, from Kennedy's jawline to the eagle's feathers, is perfectly struck. These high-grade examples can command 4 to 5 figures in value, depending on rarity and market demand. Auction records have shown that certain 1978 no-mint mark Kennedy half dollars in top condition have shocked even veteran collectors. Coin shows and online marketplaces have seen competitive bidding wars over these near-perfect examples, as their scarcity in pristine form continues to grow. Many of the best examples were likely pulled from mint sets long ago and carefully preserved, while others remain hidden in coin collections, forgotten in drawers, or sitting in boxes of loose change. Another factor adding to the allure of the 1978 Kennedy half dollar is its symbolism. It's not just a coin, it's a piece of American memory. For many, it represents the enduring legacy of John F. Kennedy, a symbol of hope, progress, and patriotism. Collectors often hold on to these coins not just for their monetary value but for their historical and emotional connection. The coin captures the essence of an era, one filled with both challenge and optimism. So, how can you tell if your 1978 no-mint mark Kennedy half dollar might be valuable? First, examine it under good lighting. Look for mint luster, sharp details, and minimal scratches. If it appears nearly flawless, consider sending it to a professional grading service for evaluation. Second, check for any errors, doubling, off-center strikes, or unusual planchet marks. And finally, always compare your coin to verified examples online or through trusted coin dealers. It's always worth remembering that the value of coins isn't static. As time passes, high-quality examples become rarer, and demand from collectors grows. What may seem like a modest coin today could be a treasure tomorrow. Many collectors started small, simply by checking their change, and discovered coins worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. The thrill of uncovering such a find keeps the world of numismatics alive and exciting. The 1978 Kennedy half dollar may not carry silver, but it carries history. Its connection to one of America's most beloved presidents, its enduring design, and its potential for hidden rarity make it a true collectible worth searching for. Whether you're new to coin collecting or a seasoned expert, there's always something magical about holding a piece of the past that still shines with possibility. So, the next time. Welcome to World Information HD, your trusted channel for uncovering the hidden value of American coins that many people never realize they have sitting in their drawers, change jars, or coin albums. Today, we are diving deep into the fascinating story and incredible value of the United States of America 1981 P mint mark Kennedy half dollar. This coin, though often overlooked by casual collectors, holds mysteries, minting details, and a potential fortune that might surprise even seasoned numismatists. Let's journey back to the early 1980s, a decade of change, innovation, and renewed interest in American coinage. The 1981 P Kennedy half dollar belongs to a series that began in 1964, following the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy. The half dollar was created not just as currency, but as a national tribute to a fallen leader who inspired millions. By 1981, the coin had already seen several design modifications, composition changes, and shifts in collector interest. The 1981 half dollar was minted primarily for circulation, but its production details reveal much more than meets the eye. It was produced at 3 major U.S. mint locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. However, the 1981 Philadelphia, or P mint mark variety, is where things become fascinating. Unlike earlier years, the Philadelphia Mint began adding the P mark starting in 1980, making the 1981 P among the earliest Philadelphia marked half dollars ever produced. This detail alone makes it historically significant. Before 1980, Philadelphia coins had no mint mark at all, so the appearance of the P was a milestone, representing a modernization of U.S. coinage identification. Collectors often search for these early P coins because they symbolize the transition of the minting process into a new era of standardization and quality control. The 1981 Kennedy half dollar was struck in copper-nickel clad composition, with an inner core of pure copper and outer layers of nickel-copper alloy. Its weight is 11.34 grams, with a diameter of 30.6 millimeters, the same as modern half dollars. But while it shares these physical traits with other coins, the hidden value lies in its rarity under certain conditions. You see, most of the 1981 P. Kennedy half dollars were heavily circulated. They passed from hand to hand, used for small purchases, and spent in casinos or vending machines. Over the years, their surfaces became worn, scratched, and dulled. As a result, high-grade examples, especially those that remain in mint-state condition, are exceedingly rare. In fact, finding one that has never been touched by human hands and retains its brilliant luster is like uncovering buried treasure. When collectors talk about grades, they refer to the Sheldon scale, which runs from 1 to 70. A coin graded MS-60 or higher is considered uncirculated, and anything above MS-65 is exceptional. But for the 1981 P. Kennedy half dollar, only a few examples are known to exist in pristine condition, graded MS-67 or better. That's where the true magic happens, and the value skyrockets beyond what most collectors would ever expect. Now, let's talk about what sets the 1981 issue apart from the rest of the Kennedy half dollar family. During this time, the mint's dies were nearing the end of their service life, leading to a variety of subtle die cracks, weak strikes, and minor doubling errors. These imperfections make each coin slightly unique, and collectors absolutely love that. For example, one famous variety of the 1981 P. Kennedy half dollar shows a double die on the obverse, particularly around the lettering of Liberty, or In God We Trust. When viewed under magnification, the letters appear doubled, giving the coin a fascinating visual effect. Another known variety involves die cracks forming around Kennedy's profile, which appear as raised lines across his hair and neck. Such errors and varieties can dramatically increase a coin's worth. A regular 1981 P half dollar in circulated condition may fetch just a small premium over face value. But a coin with these rare mint errors, especially in mint state, can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars to the right buyer. Let's dig deeper into what makes collectors chase these coins with such passion. The Kennedy half dollar represents not only a piece of American history but also a symbol of hope, loss, and unity. It's a coin that has transcended its face value to become a beloved icon of American heritage. The 1981 edition, being one of the last years struck exclusively for circulation before the decline in public use of half dollars, stands as a turning point in the series. After 1981, production of half dollars slowed dramatically for circulation. By 1982, the U.S. Mint began producing them mainly for collector sets, as the coin had all but vanished from everyday transactions. That makes the 1981 issue, especially those marked P, one of the last truly circulated Kennedy half dollars of the modern era. But there's another layer to the story: the minting quality itself. The Philadelphia Mint in 1981 was still struggling to maintain consistency in strike pressure and die polish. Many coins from that year show weak details in Kennedy's hair or on the reverse eagle's feathers. Coins with full, sharp details and mirror-like surfaces are rare and highly desirable. Collectors who specialize in Kennedy half dollars often say that the 1981 P issue serves as a gateway coin, a piece that turns casual hobbyists into serious numismatists. Once they discover the range of varieties, grades, and historical nuances, they start looking for more obscure errors and uncirculated examples. Auction records tell the real story of this coin's potential. Over the past 2 decades, 1981 Kennedy half dollars graded MS-67 have fetched astonishing prices in major numismatic auctions. Some of these coins were part of sets stored for decades, untouched since they left the mint. When finally graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC, they stun collectors with their near-perfect surfaces and sharp strikes. Imagine opening an old coin collection inherited from a grandparent, only to find one of these shining half-dollars tucked away. It might look ordinary, but under the right conditions, with the right grade and certification, that simple coin could hold life-changing value. Beyond condition and mint errors, another factor influencing the 1981 half-dollars value is toning. Over time, coins exposed to air, moisture, and certain chemicals can develop rich hues of blue, gold, purple, and green across their surfaces. Collectors call this rainbow toning, and it can make a coin incredibly beautiful and unique. Naturally toned coins from the early 1980s are in high demand, especially when the colors are even and vibrant. Toned coins graded MS-66 or higher often bring huge premiums because they're not just collectibles, they're miniature works of art created by time itself. Some collectors specialize exclusively in toned Kennedy halves, seeking out coins that look as if they'd been painted by nature. Now, it's important to understand that while millions of these coins were minted, only a small fraction survive in gem condition today. Most have been mishandled, exposed to the elements, or stored improperly. That's what makes the few perfect examples so valuable. It's a classic case of supply and demand, millions made, but almost none remain pristine. If you ever come across a 1981 Kennedy half-dollar in your collection, here's what you should do. First, examine it under good lighting. Look for any signs of wear or discoloration. If it appears shiny with no scratches or marks, consider sending it to a professional grading service. If it's an uncirculated or proof-like example, you might be sitting on a hidden gem. It's also wise to look for those small but critical details. Doubling on the lettering, cracks near Kennedy's head, or strong hairlines indicating a well-struck example. Every little detail adds to the story and potential value of the coin. The Kennedy half-dollar remains a favorite among both new and experienced collectors. Its history, artistry, and connection to one of America's most beloved presidents give it lasting appeal. And the 1981 issue, in particular, captures a moment in U.S. mint history that marked the end of an era. For decades, these coins circulated quietly, often overlooked in pocket change. But today, numismatists and coin dealers recognize their importance and scarcity. What was once a simple 50-cent piece has become a prized collectible sought after across the nation. The next time you handle a Kennedy half-dollar, take a moment to admire the design. The proud portrait of President Kennedy on the obverse and the majestic presidential seal on the reverse. Each detail was crafted with care to symbolize leadership, courage, and legacy. And in coins like the 1981 half-dollar, that legacy continues to shine brighter than ever. Welcome to World Information HD, the ultimate destination for coin collectors, history lovers, and everyone fascinated by the hidden treasures in American currency. In today's video, we'll take you on a captivating journey through the world of one of the most iconic and collectible coins ever produced, the United States of America 1995 Mint Mark Kennedy half-dollar. This coin may seem like an ordinary 50-cent piece to the untrained eye, but once you understand its history, design, production background, and the reasons it's highly sought after by collectors, you'll realize it's far more than just change in your pocket. It's a piece of American heritage, a symbol of a nation's respect for its fallen leader, and an artifact that continues to surprise coin experts with its rarity, errors, and unexpected market value. Let's begin with where it all started, the Kennedy half-dollar itself. Introduced in 1964, this coin was designed as a tribute to President John F. Kennedy, who was tragically assassinated in November 1963. The United States Mint, overwhelmed by public demand to commemorate Kennedy's legacy, moved faster than ever in its history to design and release the coin in early 1964. The coin replaced the Franklin half-dollar and was instantly embraced by the public, who hoarded the coins as keepsakes rather than spending them. Fast forward to 1995, over 3 decades after its initial release, and the Kennedy half-dollar had become not just a circulating coin, but a collectible symbol of American patriotism. The 1995 Mint Mark version, produced at the Philadelphia Mint, holds special interest among numismatists. Although millions were struck, only a fraction survived in pristine condition, and it's those rare examples that make collectors' hearts race today. To understand what makes this coin valuable, you have to look at several factors: the design, the mintage, condition, and of course, the fascinating mint errors that turn ordinary coins into treasures worth thousands. First, let's talk about the design. The obverse, or front side, features the well-known portrait of John F. Kennedy, designed by Gilroy Roberts, capturing the youthful and determined expression of the late president. On the reverse side, designed by Frank Gasparo, you'll see the presidential seal, a heraldic eagle holding an olive branch and arrows, symbolizing peace and strength. It's an image that has stood the test of time, admired not only for its meaning but also for the elegance of its design. In 1995, the U.S. Mint continued to produce Kennedy half-dollars primarily for collectors rather than for widespread circulation. Many Americans at the time rarely saw half-dollars in daily transactions, making each year's release even more desirable to numismatists. The Philadelphia Mint's P mark is found just above the date, and for collectors, that tiny letter is often the beginning of a fascinating search for perfection. Now, here's where the story gets intriguing. Even though the U.S. Mint produced over 26 million half-dollars in 1995, very few came out in flawless condition. Most circulated coins quickly showed signs of wear, dulling the shine of Kennedy's profile and fading the intricate details of the eagle on the reverse. That's why collectors are willing to pay high premiums for coins that remain in mint-state condition, particularly those graded MS67 or higher by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC. But condition isn't the only thing that matters. Some 1995 Kennedy half-dollars left the mint with rare errors, and it's those errors that can send a coin's value skyrocketing. For instance, there are examples with double die obverse, where parts of the lettering, especially Liberty or In God We Trust, appear slightly doubled. There are also instances of off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and even missing mint marks, all of which make these coins unique and highly collectible. What makes the 1995 particularly interesting is that many of these error coins escape the mint unnoticed, ending up in circulation. Imagine finding one of these in your pocket change. What might appear as a regular 50-cent coin could actually be worth thousands of dollars. Collectors also love the 1995 half-dollar because it's part of a transitional period in U.S. coin production. During the 1990s, the Mint began improving its striking techniques and adjusting its metal compositions. While Kennedy half-dollars since 1971 have been struck in copper-nickel-clad composition, variations in quality control during the mid-90s produced coins with slightly different tones, strikes, and luster, factors that determine collector interest today. Let's also explore how grading can drastically affect value. A typical circulated 1995 half-dollar might only fetch 50 cents to a couple of dollars. But when you step into the world of mint-state coins, values climb steeply. For example, an MS65 coin might sell for around $20 to $30, while an MS67 can easily reach several $100s, depending on market demand. Coins with proof-like surfaces or strong strikes can attract even higher offers. Collectors often seek proof sets as well. These were struck with extra care, using polished dies and planchets to create mirror-like finishes. The 1995 proof Kennedy half-dollar, though minted in San Francisco and marked with an S, often accompanies the Mint mark coins in collector displays because of its unmatched aesthetic appeal. Now, one thing to remember about the Kennedy half-dollar series is that it holds emotional as well as financial value. Many Americans began collecting these coins not for profit, but as a tribute to the late President Kennedy. Over the years, this sentimentality has blended with rarity and demand, turning some issues into genuine treasures. But the story doesn't end there. There are also specific varieties of the 1995 half-dollar that numismatists consider hidden gems. Some coins display slightly different die characteristics, such as thicker letters or stronger relief on the portrait. Specialists in die variety identification continue to study 1995 issues to uncover new and undocumented varieties, keeping the market for these coins vibrant and evolving. Beyond the technical details, the Kennedy half-dollar remains a cultural icon. It bridges generations. Grandparents remember the tragedy of 1963, while younger collectors see it as a link to America's history and artistry in minting. The 1995 P, in particular, represents the modern chapter of that story, one where precision, beauty, and rarity meet in one small piece of metal. If you're holding on to a few Kennedy half-dollars, it might be worth taking a closer look. Examine the mint marks, inspect the details under good lighting, and consider sending promising examples to a professional grader. You never know when a small difference in luster or strike might mean you're holding a coin worth far more than its face value. Even coins from ordinary circulation have surprised experts. Sometimes, a sharp strike, unusual die polishing, or even a slight shift in the planchet alignment can make one coin stand out among millions. Such details might seem tiny, but in numismatics, tiny details can lead to life-changing discoveries. The 1995 P. Kennedy half-dollar has been found in a wide range of grades, but coins in pristine mint state condition are now rare and in high demand. As the years go by, fewer untouched examples remain. Collectors and investors understand this. That's why the value of these coins continues to grow. What was once a simple 50-cent piece has become a collectible symbol of history, design, and national pride. Over time, as the U.S. Mint focuses less on circulating half-dollars and more on commemorative issues, early and mid-1990s coins have begun to gain more recognition. This rising demand, combined with the nostalgia factor and limited high-grade supply, has made the 1995 P. Kennedy half-dollar a standout piece in the modern coin market. So the next time you come across a Kennedy half-dollar, especially one from 1995 with a P mint mark, take a moment to appreciate it. Flip it under the light, notice the gleam of the copper-nickel surface, the proud eagle spreading its wings, and the unmistakable profile of a president whose legacy forever changed America. This coin isn't just a metallic token, it's a living fragment of the country's past, still circulating in the hands of those who recognize its value. And if you ever find one in extraordinary condition, or perhaps one with an unusual mint error, don't underestimate what you might be holding. Some collectors have turned small discoveries into huge returns, simply because they paid attention to the smallest details that others ignored. After all, hidden treasures are often found in plain sight, waiting for the right eyes to notice them. And now, for those wondering just how high the value of a rare 1995 P mint mark Kennedy half-dollar can go, the record sale for a pristine, exceptionally graded specimen has reached an astonishing $34,667. The Kennedy half-dollar, a coin that carries more than just monetary value, it holds within it a deep sense of American history, a tribute to a beloved president, and a legacy that continues to captivate collectors across the world. Today, we're going to explore one of the lesser discussed yet highly fascinating pieces in the series, the 1997 D mint mark Kennedy half-dollar. This coin may seem ordinary to the untrained eye, but beneath its silver-like shine and copper-nickel core lies a story of rarity, precision, and unexpected worth that has made collectors keep a keen watch on every detail of its creation. The Kennedy half-dollar series began in 1964, a year after the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy. America mourned deeply, and within months Congress approved a new half-dollar design in his honor. The coin replaced the Benjamin Franklin half-dollar and was met with enormous demand. People didn't just use it for commerce, they kept it as a tribute, a piece of remembrance for a fallen leader. And that sentiment still lingers. Even the 1997 issues carry that emotional and historical weight. By 1997, the Kennedy half-dollar was no longer circulating heavily in day-to-day transactions. Most Americans rarely saw them in change. The U.S. Mint continued to produce them, but largely for collectors and coin sets. Yet, not all 1997 Kennedy halves are equal. Some carry small distinctions that have turned them from casual collectibles into numismatic treasures. The D mint mark on the 1997 Kennedy half-dollar signifies that it was struck at the Denver Mint. The Denver Mint, known for its impeccable quality control and precise coinage, produced millions of these coins that year. But within those millions, subtle variations and exceptional conditions are what make the difference between an ordinary 50-cent piece and one worth thousands. At first glance, the 1997 D. Kennedy half-dollar appears much like others in the series. It features the bold, dignified portrait of President Kennedy on the obverse, designed by Gilroy Roberts. The reverse, by Frank Gasparo, displays the presidential seal, a heraldic eagle with outstretched wings clutching arrows and an olive branch, surrounded by 50 stars. This powerful imagery represents strength and peace, the two ideals Kennedy himself championed. But for coin collectors, or numismatists, every coin tells a deeper story through its physical features, its luster, strike, finish, and any small imperfections that make it unique. The 1997 D. Kennedy half-dollar, struck from a copper-nickel-clad composition, weighs 11.34 grams and measures 30.6 millimeters in diameter. However, the key to its desirability lies not in its composition but in its condition and production quality. Coins minted for circulation often show minor marks from machine handling, contact with other coins, or uneven strikes. But every so often, a perfect specimen escapes, one with flawless surfaces, sharp details, and a mirror-like finish. These coins, when discovered and graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC, can fetch astonishing prices. What makes the 1997 D. Kennedy half-dollar particularly interesting is that although it was minted in the tens of millions, high-grade examples are surprisingly scarce. Many coins from this period were carelessly handled or stored, losing their original mint luster. Collectors today are in pursuit of examples that have survived in pristine, untouched condition, known as mint state. A 1997 D. Kennedy half-dollar graded MS-67 or MS-68, for example, is an exceptional find. These grades indicate that the coin is nearly flawless, with only the faintest of imperfections visible under magnification. Such coins are rare, not because of their mintage numbers, but because so few have survived in that elite condition. Then there's the allure of mint errors, one of the most fascinating aspects of modern coin collecting. Occasionally, the mint's high-speed machinery produces small anomalies, off-center strikes, double dies, missing letters, or misaligned edges. These imperfections, though unintended, make the coins stand out as one-of-a-kind treasures. Some 1997 D. Kennedy half-dollars have been discovered with striking errors, broad strikes, and off-center features that add immense value and uniqueness to each piece. It's these tiny mistakes, these glimpses into the production process, that have collectors buzzing with excitement. After all, an error coin is more than just a manufacturing defect. It's a time capsule of a moment when machinery and metal didn't align perfectly, yet still produced something mesmerizing. Another point of interest for collectors is the coin's overall eye appeal, the brilliance of its surfaces, the crispness of Kennedy's profile, and the clarity of the eagle's feathers on the reverse. When light dances across a perfectly struck and preserved coin, it tells a story of craftsmanship and preservation that few other collectibles can match. The 1997 D. Kennedy half-dollar is also important to collectors because it marks a period of transition for U.S. coinage. By the late 1990s, the United States Mint was modernizing rapidly, adopting new minting technologies and preparing for the redesigns that would come with the new millennium. The Kennedy half-dollar, in that context, serves as one of the final pieces of classic American design before the more modern era of coinage began. But what keeps the Kennedy half-dollar so captivating isn't just its appearance, or even its minting quality, it's the emotional legacy it carries. Every collector who holds one knows they're not just holding 50 cents, they're holding a tribute to history, to leadership, to the enduring image of President Kennedy's optimism. Even the 1997 D issue, decades removed from his time, still resonates with that same symbolism. Over the years, countless collectors have turned small pocket change discoveries into life-changing moments. Some coins, hidden away in jars, rolls, or old drawers, have surfaced decades later to reveal themselves as rare mint-state gems. The 1997 D. Kennedy half-dollar has been among those lucky finds. Imagine searching through a collection of half-dollars passed down from your grandfather and spotting one that shines a little brighter, the D mint mark glinting under the light. You decide to have it graded, only to discover it's an almost perfect specimen, one of only a handful known at that grade level. Suddenly, that single coin transforms from a family keepsake into a collector's prize worth thousands. That's the magic of coin collecting, the thrill of discovery and the power of history merging into a tangible, beautiful artifact. Collectors and historians alike continue to document the fine details of each year's Kennedy half-dollar mintages. For the 1997 D, careful record-keeping and grading data have shown that only a small fraction have survived in exceptional condition. That scarcity, coupled with strong demand for Kennedy halves in general, has made this coin a hidden gem in the numismatic world. It's not uncommon for experienced collectors to pay close attention to even the smallest differences, things like the strength of the strike on the lettering, the clarity of Kennedy's hair details, and the reflectivity of the fields. In some coins, the Denver Mint's dies were polished so well that the finished coins display a semi-proof-like shine, giving them an appearance closer to proof coins, though they were struck for circulation. Those subtle qualities can dramatically elevate a coin's value. For newcomers to coin collecting, the 1997 D Kennedy half-dollar offers the perfect combination of accessibility and excitement. It's not so rare that it's unattainable, yet it's rare enough in high grades to be worth seeking out. Finding one in superb condition or discovering an error variant can turn a modest investment into a remarkable piece of American coinage history. Collectors often say that every coin has a story, and that story begins the moment it's struck. The 1997 D Kennedy half-dollar story is one of persistence, of a coin design that has endured for over half a century, of an image that continues to inspire, and of a numismatic journey that rewards those who look closely. Today, the Kennedy half-dollar still holds its place as one of the most collected coins in American history. Its mix of beauty, symbolism, and historical depth ensures it remains a favorite across generations. Whether you're a casual collector or a seasoned numismatist, this coin serves as a reminder that history often hides in plain sight, sometimes in the very coins we overlook. So, if you happen to come across a 1997 D Kennedy half-dollar, take a closer look. Examine the surfaces, the shine, the subtle differences that make your coin unique. Who knows, you might be holding a piece that's far more valuable than you imagine. Because believe it or not, one remarkable example of the 1997 D Kennedy half-dollar, preserved in stunning condition and graded at an elite level, was sold for an incredible price of $23,746. Welcome to World Information HD, your number one source for exploring the fascinating world of rare American coins and their hidden fortunes. In today's captivating video, we'll dive deep into one of the most talked about modern coins from the United States Mint, the 2023 D Mint Mark Kennedy half-dollar. At first glance, it looks like just another shiny 50-cent piece you might receive in change or collect out of curiosity. But when you take a closer look, you'll uncover a story filled with history, symbolism, and unexpected value that may surprise even the most seasoned collectors. The Kennedy half-dollar series is one of the most emotional and historically significant coin series ever produced by the United States Mint. Its birth in 1964 was not just a regular addition to American coinage, it was a national symbol of mourning and remembrance for the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy in November 1963. Millions of Americans held on to these coins as keepsakes, preserving the memory of the late president. Fast forward to the present day, and this iconic coin still carries that legacy. But the 2023 D Mint Mark Kennedy half-dollar adds a fresh twist to this rich heritage. Minted at the Denver Mint, as indicated by the small D beneath Kennedy's bust, the 2023 half-dollar stands as a modern marvel of craftsmanship. While the design has remained largely consistent over the decades, the precision and clarity achieved with modern minting technology have made the 2023 issues stand out remarkably. The obverse, or front side, features the familiar left-facing profile of John F. Kennedy designed by Gilroy Roberts, with the inscriptions, Liberty, and In God We Trust, encircling his image. The date, 2023, appears just below his neck. Turning the coin over reveals the powerful and patriotic reverse designed by Frank Gasparo, showing the presidential coat of arms, a heraldic eagle holding an olive branch and arrows, surrounded by 50 stars. It's a design that resonates with every American who values history, honor, and freedom. Despite being a circulating coin, the detailing on the 2023 issue has a crispness that makes collectors take notice. Now, the question everyone wants answered: is the 2023 D. Kennedy half-dollar really worth anything more than 50 cents? The short answer: yes, it absolutely can be, depending on a few crucial factors. Condition, rarity of strike, and collector demand all play major roles in determining how valuable your coin could be. First, let's talk about condition, or what collectors refer to as grade. Like any other collectible, coins in pristine, uncirculated condition will always fetch higher prices than those with scratches, wear, or discoloration. For the 2023 D. Kennedy half-dollar, coins straight from mint-sets or rolls, untouched and gleaming with their original luster, are the ones that attract the most attention. Collectors often look for those struck with full details in Kennedy's hair, sharp definition in the eagle's wings, and clear lettering. A coin in mint state 67 or higher can already command a significant premium in today's market. Secondly, let's talk about rarity. Even though millions of these coins are produced, not all of them are equal. Some 2023 D. Kennedy half-dollars show interesting variations or minting errors, small differences created accidentally during the minting process that can dramatically increase value. These errors might include off-center strikes, double die obverse, where parts of the design appear doubled, missing clad layers, or die cracks. Each error tells a story of the coin's unique journey through the minting process, making it a one-of-a-kind collectible. Collectors and numismatists have been closely watching the 2023 D. Kennedy half-dollar since its release, noting that the Denver Mint's production this year had some striking quality variations. Certain batches exhibit a strong, mirror-like finish similar to proof coins, while others have slightly muted details, sparking discussion among experts about potential minor die differences. If you happen to find one of these high-quality strikes with unusual characteristics, it could be a hidden treasure sitting right in your change jar. What also adds charm to the 2023 D. Kennedy half-dollar is its symbolism in modern times. While many newer generations may overlook the historical importance of the Kennedy series, the coin continues to represent courage, hope, and American unity. Collectors often refer to it as a living tribute, a coin that still bridges the gap between the past and the present. And as time moves on, newer Kennedy half-dollar issues, especially from the 2020s, are becoming increasingly sought after due to lower mintages and the gradual decline in circulation. You might be surprised to learn that since 2002, Kennedy half-dollars have not been released for general circulation in large quantities. Instead, they are mainly produced for collectors through the U.S. Mint's special sets and rolls. That means most Americans rarely see these coins in their everyday transactions anymore, and this rarity in circulation adds to their collectability. The 2023 D version continues that trend, making it a modern collector's piece right from the moment it was struck. For those who love to collect coins, the 2023 D Kennedy half-dollar represents more than just face value. It's part of a broader narrative, a coin that captures a moment in American history while also reflecting the craftsmanship and technology of today's minting process. The beauty of this coin lies in its simplicity, timeless design, symbolic meaning, and a sense of continuity that links decades of American coinage. Now, let's talk about what makes collectors truly excited: the value potential. As the years go by, even modern issues like this can become highly desirable. The reason? Time and preservation. Coins that remain untouched in their original mint packaging or sealed rolls could see their value rise steadily, especially if fewer of them are found in pristine condition. Collectors are already reporting growing interest in the 2023 D issue on online marketplaces and coin forums, with some examples commanding impressive prices for top grades. Another fascinating aspect that draws people to the Kennedy half-dollar series is its connection to historical events and American identity. Every coin minted with Kennedy's image serves as a daily reminder of leadership, inspiration, and tragedy. And while the earlier silver issues of the 1960s are famously valuable due to their metal content, the modern clad versions carry their worth through collectability, condition, and emotional appeal. The Denver Mint's craftsmanship has long been respected by collectors for its sharp detail and consistent quality. The D Mint mark on the 2023 Kennedy half dollar isn't just a letter, it's a signature of heritage, a symbol of the hardworking artisans and engineers who continued the proud tradition of American coinage. Each piece that leaves the Denver Mint carries that touch of history, precision, and pride. In coin collecting, timing can make all the difference. Today's seemingly common coin can become tomorrow's prized rarity, depending on factors like future demand, market trends, and collector interest. We've seen countless examples of modern coins skyrocketing in value years after their release, often because collectors realize too late how few high-quality specimens remain in circulation. The 2023 D Kennedy half dollar could easily follow this path, especially as more people begin to recognize the significance of post-2020 mint issues. Collectors often emphasize the importance of looking at every coin carefully. Whether you find it in a coin roll, a mint set, or even as change, examining each detail can make the difference between discovering an ordinary piece or a hidden gem worth hundreds, or even thousands, of dollars. Pay close attention to the luster, edges, and strike quality. Sometimes, even a tiny error can transform a 50-cent coin into a highly sought-after collector's prize. The Kennedy half dollar continues to captivate both new and seasoned numismatists because it combines beauty, meaning, and potential profit. It's not just about collecting coins, it's about collecting pieces of American history, tangible reminders of the nation's evolution and its heroes. The 2023 D Mint mark Kennedy half dollar stands proudly among these coins, representing a new chapter in a legacy that began over 6 decades ago. If you come across one of these coins, don't overlook it. Examine it closely, keep it safe, and remember, even modern coins can surprise you with incredible value. The Kennedy half dollar series has proven time and time again that its worth goes far beyond the number stamped on its face.